to retire, you have one huge question to answer. What is your number? What is the portfolio size where you can safely say, I'm done, I'm financially free? For nearly 30 years, the fastest and most popular way to find that number has been through the 4% rule. It is not a law, it is not a promise, but it's the most crucial directional guide in all of retirement planning. Today, we're going to break down why this simple ratio became the global benchmarking for financial freedom and how modern analysts are refining it. So, the 4% rule states that you can withdraw 4% of your retirement portfolio's value in the first year you retire, and then adjust that initial dollar amount for inflation every year thereafter. For example, if your portfolio is $1 million, in year one, your withdrawal is going to be $40,000. If inflation is 3%, your year two withdrawal is going to be $41,200. This is a system designed to give you steady inflation-adjusted income stream for 30 years. So the rule is valid for a period of 30 years. And on the other hand, the rule also helps you calculate what your goal is. So you can invert the rule and you can use the 25x. Take your desired annual spending and multiply it by 25 to come up with your retirement number. For example, you spend $40,000 per year, 40,000 times 25, it's $1 million. Now, why 4%? This number wasn't just pulled out of thin air. It came from rigorous historical analysis by financial planner Bill Bengen in the mid-1990s. He tested market data going back to 1926, including the worst historical conditions. The goal was safety. Bengen wanted the highest safe withdrawal rate that survived the absolute worst market sequence. His analysis was built on two core assumptions that make it directional. One, the portfolio mix. So this portfolio is a diversified mix of US stocks and intermediate-term government bonds. And the second assumption here is the time horizon. It's designed for a very high probability of success for a 30-year retirement. So if you are an early retiree and you have like 50 or 60 years, the rule might be a little bit too aggressive for you. But in any case, he was using the historical worst case scenario to calculate that rule. So it really is a safety rule in that sense. Now, let's take a modern analytical twist to the rule, recognizing that it is directional. I think the point one here is lower rates. Because of current high stock valuations and historically low bond yields today, some analysts and modelers suggest a safer starting point might be closer to 3.3 to 3.5%, especially for early retirees needing more than 30 years. So if you need like 40, 50 years, it might be safer to have a lower withdrawal rate. Now, on the other hand, Bengen revised the rule, and he just recently published a book with the revised rule. And he has actually updated the rule to 4.7. So he shifted the bond allocation to include more intermediate term Treasury inflation protected securities. And if you've seen his interviews, he's doing the round saying that the safe max is not 4% anymore, it's actually 4.7. So that's that to consider as well. And then point three, which is probably the safest way to go about this, is using a dynamic strategy, which is called the Guardrails. Because the rule is a rigid estimate, guaranteed way to increase your safety is to use this guardrail system, which is, for example, if this year the market is doing really poorly, it is, say, negative returns, instead of withdrawing the 4%, you reduce your expenses, you spend a little bit less, and you take a smaller percentage out of your portfolio. Versus next year, if the market is back up again, then you can take a little bit more. So being a little bit more dynamic and flexible on how you are withdrawing, so that you don't really tap into your principal too much when the market is down. So this all to say that the 4% rule is an anchor. It will tell you the minimum you need to aim to buy yourself freedom, and it gives you that mindset and that framework to work with. However, majority of people who will retire early, they use it directionally, but they will normally have more than that, just because you are retired and you want to plan for a worst case scenario. Although, as Bill Bengen said, this is already a worst case scenario type of rule.